Hello, welcome back. Episode 2 of the PiffCast. It's your boy Breeder Piff. We got our co-host here, Maceta. And today we have our guest, YoSammy.
Thank you for having me.
I'm really excited to have you here, man.
Pleasure to be here.
Let's tell the audience who you are, introduce yourself, and
In the community, I'm known as Sammy or YoSammy, and I've been growing haze for a long time.
yeah, you
That's
have.
it. Yeah. And preserving it also.
You have, man. You're like a legend, and I'm kind of a little starstruck, to be honest with you.
Oh, don't
It's
be.
cool,
I'm just a regular guy, like the rest of us.
Nah, that's really cool, man. So, talk to me. How long have you been growing? What was your first experience growing?
Well, I started growing together with a friend in 1993. So we were inexperienced and we didn't know really the hazes. I grew some, like commercial skunk varieties before it.
Okay.
In the backyard. But indoor growing for me started with the haze, and from experience we learned over time by the people that were also preserving it and growing it in the south of Holland. So it got, they brought it to us in a way, or we discovered it, and we liked it so much that we embraced it. We were blown away by it back in the early 90s. So, from there on, we started cultivating it, and by experience we learned.
That's amazing. That's amazing. So, as you may know, haze is like a huge culture here in New York City. It's dominated through the 90s, early 2000s. Haze was the best possible weed that you could get. And I just think it's really cool that you've been growing it and preserving it for so long. And
Well, it's a collective. It's not me only. I have also
Yeah.
friends, and like you, we spread it around. So it
stays.
the people that really embrace it and love it by heart, well, they're glued to it, so to speak. So it sticks.
Cool, man. So I've been very excited to show you this. I wanted to get your first reaction on the podcast.
All right.
So this is the Cuban Black Haze. This is the one that started it all.
All right. So
check
this is
that
the
out.
original cutting, flowers of the original cutting of the Cuban Black Haze, right? All right. All right, so I'm going to throw it in my can so I can better inspect it a little bit and see it.
Yep. Smell that. That's that puree right there. You know what I mean?
So first impression for me, it's like, Haze A reminiscent, right? So
Haze
it
A,
has
right.
all that kind of terpiness, like the dankness of it, so to speak, right? And but from appearance and look, it's it depends on who cultivates it and how it's cultivated.
Yes.
It's to me, it's I still so the flowers by look and the scent reminds me more of the Neville's Haze we have than to an A5 or to the A5. But I mean, phenotypical varieties are different, as you know. So it also could be a 5 Haze A sister plant to A5.
Okay.
It's hard for me to just determine that by flowers only, but it's clearly like it's very reminiscent to the old hazes we hold there in structure and how it looks, how it smells, everything. So yeah, man, can't wait to try it. So
Yeah, we're gonna roll some of that up, and I wanted you to check out this one as well. This is the Green Haze. This is my personal favorite. So this, like when I think of my childhood with Piff and everything,
this was the
'cause
first for you.
that was the first for everyone that we know of.
All right.
They say that one came from 1989.
That's the initiator of the haze
of the haze
culture
in New York.
here in
And
New
really,
York.
like it went to Miami first, and then it came here.
Dank weed for sure.
Right.
So I'm gonna try.
But
we're
this
gonna try
one,
that.
this is the Green Haze. This was like a New York only. I don't think Miami really had this.
Okay, but so where did it originated? Do you have any intel on that? So it's like
I heard
also
in
from seeds from
2001,
Holland.
but no one
From
really
Neville?
says. Yeah, seeds from Holland, but we're not sure exactly what seeds.
Yeah, it's a little more like it has a little more of this basement fuel in it into it.
The basement.
Yeah, like the musk is a little bit stronger.
That's
this one
like
is
what I
different,
want.
No.
Yeah.
No.
This one I feel like is more floral, but that one kind of has the. That one's just raw.
Yeah,
like,
yeah. It
it's
has all that
very sharp.
the foulness of the haze A profile, so to speak. Like that musk. It's really inside of it, so it looks like potent gear for sure.
Yes.
Yeah.
Cool, man. So I want to ask, like, how many old haze cuts are still alive?
Well,
What's like the oldest one you have?
The first ones were like A5. Well, we got them all in the 90s. We got them all except the Neville's haze cutting. That was kind of hoarded most on, but we could grow, cultivate all hazes, all the old clones varieties that they had. So that means A5. They had two phenotypical selections that they kept, that these people, the Southern Haze crew, as I refer to, thought of to be the two best. And that's like so these two varieties we called Diesel and Mango, even before Diesel and Mango got, a commercial variety, so to speak,
Oh, yeah?
just to by reference. But it was like A5 number 2 and A5 number 4 probably, because they held initially 5 cuttings.
Okay.
But like some of them were like Herm, some of them were like hard to grow, and so they kept what in their view were like the best two cultivars of each kind of selection. Meaning there were 2 A5s, 2 C5s, 2 AG13s, and in the end only one got preserved.
So what number is the A5 that's around now?
A5 number 2.
That's the A5 number 2. So
Yeah.
what about the C5?
That's debatable because there are multiple cuts of it. Like you have the 1, 2, 2, and the 1. So for me, like the
122
C5 we
is the
hold.
mango?
Yes, that's it. So it's actually like Shanti Scott uses it to breed his mango haze, which is also a really nice haze variety. And so it differs from the C5 we hold. So the 1 to 2 for me is like more fruity, more floral, while the Haze C or the C5 we hold, not the Haze C but the C5, it's like more this terpinolene dom, ammonia a little bit, but also carries the floral bouquet, not so strongly as the mango, like the 1 to 2. So they're different phenotypes, but they're very, when you smoke it and you compare them next to each other, they're clear like sister plants, definitely.
That's cool. AG13, what's the cross on that?
Well, it's a G13 original from here in the US, cross to Haze A.
Haze A, okay.
Yeah, and it's the best preserved, well, it's the best phenotypical expression carrying the best of these two worlds, the Haze A and the G13, combined into one. And so she's a beauty, she's one of a kind, a unique cultivar, beauty.
What's your favorite haze cut that you have today?
For me, C5 is the queen because it's like more like the daytime smoke. I mean, C5 is when it's grown to full potential, it's like a really amazing smoke. While the Haze A type cultivars are more like, they're more like a little bit more exhaustive. So for daily consumption, it's not so favorable. So all the Haze heads with us, they kindly embrace the C5 for their daily talk and go then to the A5 and the AG for like maybe in the evening more, or when there's a party or a gathering or something like that. So some kind of event. It's like a festival weed, right?
Yeah.
But it's not so much to talk on every day because it's very, it really hammers you down. So when you are young, you can do it. When you get older, you get a little bit more, careful in what you smoke, so to speak. So that's why I also embrace import hashish, because actually the tolerance system in Holland was being implemented to import to differentiate hashish from like heroin, because in the 70s it was a big problem, the heroin problem. So that's why the Dutch said we're going to differentiate these two markets, and because usually they were shipped together.
Okay.
So because of the cannabis was less harmful, they emplaced the toleration system to actually be able to differentiate the market from hashish to heroin.
Okay.
Back then, there was no indoor growing cultivation going on in Holland, so it was mainly hashish. But later, of course, it grew, and Neville was, I think, the pioneer that really embarked the commercial indoor cultivation in Holland and then throughout the world, I think. Definitely.
One question I got for you. How was your reaction the first time you ever seen hashish? Like, did you already know that?
I grew up with it, so it was the first thing that we smoked. Hashish was all around in Holland. So it was from Moroccan, Lebanese, Pakistan, Afghanistan, Nepalese were the best kind of varieties there were. So like the hash was really like strong in Holland because of the tolerance system. So the families that produced it could like smuggle it there, and then it got retail. So that's how it all happened. But then the weed started to come up and pushed a little bit of the hashish away.
So still to this day, you prefer to smoke hash joints, right?
Definitely yes. Yeah, definitely yes. Because
Tobacco with a little bit of hash.
that's it. Well, a little bit, like a good portion of it, but still,
Oh,
you know,
yeah?
compared to Americans, we use a lot of tobacco. That's an effect, the truth.
That's
But it came from that because
Yeah.
hashish is hard to smoke and like
By itself, you need
by
something
itself.
to burn.
Yeah, that's it. So usually it's like actually it's come from Morocco. They were initiating it like tobacco mixed with and that's how it came to Holland. We started to smoke it like with tobacco, and it was mainly hashish. Later it with the skunk happening, and then the whole thing got the whole indoor growing scene got then more established in Holland, and it caused it to transit from mainly hashish to like also indoor varieties, and now it's mainly indoor varieties, and the hashish is pushed down because of the smuggling thing and everything. It's hard. So it's actually a sad thing, but hopefully in the future, cannabis will be embraced and the herb will be freed also in these nations, and we can have maybe an international thing. And the hashish families and the people that make it traditionally will be embraced once more for the quality product that they produce.
Yeah.
Because it's like from fields, right? Sun-grown marijuana fields that has a lot of different phenotypes and one kind of hashish variety. So that's what makes it rich in terms of cannabinoids compared to a one phenotypical expression of an indoor cultivated variety. No matter how good it is, I think it always it doesn't hold the character and the intention of hashish. But that's just a personal preference, I mean, that's for each.
Hash is like more full spectrum with all the mixed phenos and everything,
Yes,
huh?
that's what I mean. So it's a different kind of, and also, it's a resin. So all the flower is like, like it's an extract, right? So it's different. So it's more pure and refined. And when these people make it in the countries of origin, of course, it's planted in the soil with the sun, with the climate of that typical cultivar that matches it. These people been doing it for 1,000 years. So like it's hard to change a golden formula, right?
Yeah.
So you have to embrace it like it is. And I think in terms of cannabis culture, the highest forms of cannabis culture are, found within these people that really make hashish for thousands of years. And, it speaks for itself, of course.
Of course. Have you ever been to any of those sites? Fields
Not yet.
where they're making hash?
Not yet. I would love to go, but I'm too busy with like cultivating weed to do so.
You can't leave your plants for too long.
That's how plants
right?
don't wait. So like so it's really good for you to invite me. So for the first time, I can experience some new world varieties, I can call it. That came back from the old world, right?
Right.
And actually, they came from the new world. Haze was bred in California, right? And then brought to Holland by Sam Skunkman, and he shared seeds with Neville, and then he hybridized Haze and was very successful with it. And until this day, we're smoking it. So speaks for it for this man's success.
I want you to check this one out.
Oof.
This is the Harlem 21.
All right.
This is a Harlem Dreams S1. So Harlem Dreams is Cuban Black Haze crossed the Blue Dream. It's something I made, and then I reversed my pheno on itself, made S1s.
All right.
And my friends at Soto Farms did a hunt.
So S1's really stable ones.
Yeah.
No harms.
No herms on that.
That's that
yeah.
2023 puree right there, though. That's that.
Right,
That's
looks
that
damn
za
close.
za za.
Looks more silver, huh?
So we got the flowering time down to about 75 days on that one.
Yeah.
But it still leaves that nice like incense smell in the air
Yeah,
when you
definitely.
smoke it.
No, it's still haze reminiscent. So a lot of people can tap into these varieties more, I think, than to the old
to fit
clones
more into
because they are the wildness of it. It's
Yeah.
more like they lean more to like land races, and this is more like being bred over time and streamlined
Commercialized, yeah.
to be able to grant the average grower also to produce some nice wheat, right?
Exactly.
And that's what it's all about.
Yes.
So it's nice that you're making these lines, because they carry all the goodness of the haze, and still they are, cultivars that are, that can be cultivated by anybody. You know
Yep.
what I mean? Not just the
Exactly.
specialist, right? So, and it's good. So people can, grow for their own.
So you've
I'm
done
into
some
that.
breeding for yourself, right?
Yes. That's
Talk
true.
to
Over
me.
time.
I want to know about like what you're looking for. What do you select for first? What's your first thing, and then what comes second?
Well, we grew the old cuts for so many years that we were like, for me, the C5 stood out in like what I said for a daytime smoke. And the AG13 I liked really much because it has this also kind of medical, I wouldn't call it sedative, but relaxing high to it. So it's the most relaxing of all the haze hybrids. So these two were my personal two best cultivars. So I always wanted to merge these two to each other. But there are two females, of course, two ladies, and it's all about finding the right male to kind of inbreed these hazes to one another. And so that brought me to A-Seeds initially because they had some landrace cultivars or like more sativa dom cultivars. And what happened throughout the 90s was more that the people that were working these old cuttings or the hazes, they kind of also wanted to decrease the flower time.
Right.
So like a suitable 70, maybe 80 days, like 12 weeks tops, between 10 and 12 weeks. But usually it takes it takes a
away
little bit
from it.
of the fire. So it presses on the potency of the original. And I didn't want to do that, so that made me pay attention to like other sativa or NLD cultivars to interbreed with these hazes.
Okay.
And the first one I did was with the Malawi coming from Ace. So we had some males, and I'm in a collective also of people that that's been on the boards for long. So it was due to actually a Scottish grower that he was busy delving into the Haze or the Malawi strains of Ace. Back in the day, I'm talking about when A-Seeds was just new.
When was that?
And,
like 2000?
I can't remember, no, a little later, I think 2012, 11, like 2012, something like that. And so he said, I'm really impressed with this Malawi, man. It's like really strong herb. So I got this stellar male. I can send you some pollen. And so I threw it on all my haze hybrids. And then I made crossings between C5 Malawi, chose a male from that, and I dropped pollen on the AG13. And did some phenosearching in it, and then it led me to a cultivar that I knew, then named New Horizon Haze, which brings all the best of these two worlds together, right?
Yeah.
So that was successful, but the Malawi isn't so the most terpy strain, and that's MNS Scott I really liked also. So his NL5 Haze C then was really interesting for me to match to the C5 to see if that could capture that C5 and that 122 that he's also holding. And then I selected the male from that, dropped that on the AG13, and that we created a new seed variety, and it's been distributed by Original Damkring Genetics in Amsterdam.
Oh, cool.
Because he's a friend of mine,
Yeah.
the guy that owns it, and so he asked me to maybe make a seed line, and so I did, and that's resulted into what's known now as the Isaac Haze.
The Isaac Haze, okay. Yeah, I've heard a lot about the Isaac Haze.
And we had two phenos of that. One was very floral, very like, it packed everything nicely of the incense of the haze, but also this floral bouquet. And the other one was more like the sturdy one, more like the hash kind of variety, more Afghan down based, but also like long flowering. And these two phenotypical selections, they're fire for sure. So that, you can only conclude that these clones, these old clones, they carry traits that are really, unique, so to speak. So bringing them together and having the privilege to have these beautiful cultivars to delve in, it's a pleasure really to explore. So I wouldn't call myself a true breeder because I don't have the space to do larger. But it's just like for passion by the heart, you know what I mean?
That's what counts.
That's what counts mostly. Yes.
Definitely. So let me ask that. All right, so that basement smell that you described, right? Are there any hazes in Holland that are similar like that you've seen?
No, not really, because there's something else to it. I can't really place it to what it's like. I can really, it's clearly that they're reminiscent of the old hazes, like the Haze A mostly, like 5 Haze A, right? Or Neville's Haze, but it has another like funk to it. When C5 is grown not so well, it also carries this kind of basement kind of funk to it.
When it's not grown well.
When it's not grown well, because then it keeps away from the floral bouquet to emerge. Or when it's chopped early, for instance. Usually a lot of people, they go only like 10 to 11 weeks, while actually the magic of the C5 comes in the later flowering cycle. So from 12 to 14 weeks, it really, builds another layer of kind of funk to it that's not really found into the early chopped mature, not really mature kind of. That's the beauty of haze, long flowerings. The magic happens in between the 10 and 15 weeks time frame, so to speak. Thanks.
Yeah,
So what are we smoking now? This?
This is the green haze,
All right.
and I
This
put a
one,
little
this
bit
one,
of
eh?
your hash in there as
All
well.
right. No. Oh, mixture of two worlds. Thanks.
So my favorite and your favorite. Can't go wrong there.
Combine it right there.
All right.
Smoothie.
Yeah, it smokes smooth, eh? So this is one, the green haze, right?
Yeah, so that's like, when I think of Piff, that's it.
In taste, it reminds me a lot of the Neville's Haze. to be
Neville's
honest.
Haze.
Yeah, definitely. No, no.
Yeah, I did get to try your Neville's Haze and it was very, very nice.
Yes.
Yeah.
Also very smooth. eh?
It was piffy and it's
Good
has
grower also.
other elements to it too.
It's important. Eh? Who cultivates it? It's equally important as the cultivar itself. You know?
For sure.
It's
yeah.
like the synergy between the two. Eh?
Mhm.
And then, but nice. Yeah, I like its flavor very much. So it tastes different than it smells. I think
Yeah.
it tastes much better. The basement flavor is not so strong in the taste as it is in the aroma. So far so good. And it's strong too. I can feel it immediately, like setting itself.
Ooh, great review.
So it's good. Like my first New World Haze experience. Thank you for
Good.
it.
Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome.
Great review, man.
Good. So you say that's similar to Neville's Haze.
It's more similar to Neville's Haze than
So you think there is some C,
AC in it.
there's
Yes,
some C in it.
I think so.
But there's no terpenoline in it. We've done
that's true.
terpene tests.
That's true. Yeah,
Never
that's
had
true.
terpenoline, so that's the only thing.
I can be, conclusive of it. I can only
can.
say it's very like Haze A reminiscent in like what you sample. But when I take a look at the flowers, it's different kind of way, and the resin kind of spectrum that's on it. Of course, each cultivar is growing by, like I said, the symbiosis between the grower and the plant will take out certain aspects.
Yes.
All right, so it's always hard just by flower. I should grow it to know it.
Okay.
I always say you have to
Then
grow
you
it
would know.
to know it.
Okay.
Flowers are one thing, but it's like it's dependent on who grew it, how many weeks, also like the nutrients, the medium, the environment where it's grown. So it can play a lot of role in the outcome of the flower. So it's very hard to really say like it's this or that, but it's clearly Haze A reminiscent more than Haze C.
Okay.
But by look and smell, I would more go to the Neville's Haze phenotypical than to a straight A5. What it's
Straight
called.
A5.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
That's my personal take on it, but I should grow it to know it.
Okay. Maybe you'll grow one day.
I hope so. That would be awesome. Like the only thing I grew since I've been connecting to the new world more is the Cuban the Band-Aid 7.
Band-Aid Haze number 7.
Band-Aid number 7. It's like it's not the most easy cultivar to get really to full potential, but when you get her to full potential, it reveals all her qualities, and it's also like that 5 Haze is really in it.
Yeah.
It's really reminiscent. It's also very strong herb. I like it because it's like it has none of the foulness, so to speak, none of the scariness, but it's still very strong. It's like mushroom weed, like we all
Yeah.
love the hazes so much because it has this psychedelic effect.
Exactly. Yeah.
And that's why we embrace it so much. So
I
the
always
Band-Aid
say Haze
A7
hits
was,
the soul.
but it's
you
the
know?
only cultivar of the New World that I've grown so far. So I cannot compare it to anything else. But it can stand next to the old clones, and there were not a lot of plants that could do that.
I got you.
All right, so
Good. And the Band-Aid Haze is Cuban Black Haze to A5 Thai, right?
yeah, A5 Thai.
Shout
It's,
out Both Seeds.
Yeah, absolutely. And also Karma Genetics and the people that are, that were responsible for these seeds and the distribution. So big up to all of them because in a way it's all about sharing the love. And that leads to this product.
Right, yeah. This is all stem from love, right?
That's it.
Check this out. This is more Black Haze. Just a different grower.
So it's the same thing as this, but then grown by somebody else.
This one was grown in cocoa, and this one is living soil.
Oh, wow. That very much the Neville Haze. This flower, it did get more of the floral bouquet than this one. This one is more like the 5 Haze, like the incense of it is more pronounced. But here you can clearly smell like the floral bouquet, so I would say it's like a, yeah. It has this like maybe soap kind of thingy going on too, like soap florals, but definitely not just that Colombian incense of the Haze A. There's some other funk to it.
Do you know what kind of Colombian you can find that incense in? What Colombian seed lines is there any of them on
Well,
the market now?
They are, I think, but I don't really tap into it.
Is it Colombian black or is it?
I think so. Yeah.
Okay.
From what I've heard, like people like Rajo or some other people like some people in America that really tap into these hazes. They been into the community for so long, since the 70s, so they were able to smoke actually these Colombian varieties from yesteryear. I really haven't being able to tap into those varieties as myself.
Okay.
So I have to go from these people's experience and their take on it, on what's what. But I believe that Haze A is predominantly Colombian dom, and that Haze C has more of a Thai in it, I think. Yes, definitely. So it's a Colombian / Thai. My personal take on things. That's what differentiates, I think, Haze C from Haze A. So like Haze A is very much Colombian, while Haze C has this other thing into it, being either Thai or Colombian. It could be Lao, it could be, because they say Thai, but Thailand is a big country, and not every Thai strain is similar, So there's also a big variety within Thai strains itself. So being able to say like one Thai is not comparable to the other, such as Colombian land races or Mexicans or whatever. So it's all about that, going back to where they originated from. But as far as I know, Haze A is predominantly Colombian, and I suspect Haze C being also southeastern, influenced by Thailand or some Cambodian strain or whatever.
Okay.
Definitely.
It's amazing. It's amazing.
Awesome.
And I smell it in that here. You have some floral bouquet in it that is not only Colombian dom.
Okay.
So whatever it is, I think there's more like a hybrid between a Haze A C cultivar or maybe something else. Maybe they outcrossed it like a sister plant to A5 with another landrace variety from back in the time, and these things came out. Who knows, It's hard to say for sure, but you can definitely see they're family related.
It's a big mystery, the Haze origin story. There's so many different stories.
It's hazy.
Yeah.
Very much so. Yeah. And so, the beauty about it, like Haze people, they are really passionate about things,
Yes.
So, because it's the intention of smoking Haze is very different than Kushes or cakes or, like skunks, or each have their own kind of vibration and frequency.
Yeah.
And I think the Haze is really like the top frequency of indoor cultivars, like if you can grow them to full potential, they blow you away, because the Afghan dom varieties, or more like subtropical varieties, the short flower we call indica more dom, they're more like sedative narcotic, while the sativa NLD makes you like creative, flying, psychedelic, it's all. So that's why it got embraced by hippies in like the 60s, and then they got it actually from the beatniks, who were also busy with it, exploring, traveling to Mexico and Colombia, smoking their gear, and like, wow, it blew their mind. So they brought seeds, and then it got into the hands of the hippies, and I think now it's merging more from like the hippie scene to a more hip hop scene, and like it's embraced by also a larger. For what it is, like, you take Snoop Dogg or like every one of those heroes, it speaks for itself. So it's good, I think, because, like cannabis is something that frees people, and our opinions and minds, and it's like it's like a glue between people, and if you embrace it for what it is, well, it's pure love, and it's a gift from the gods. That's how it is. So free the weed, I would say.
It's a gift from the gods. It's a fact.
It is.
Yeah.
It's the healing of the nation. That's how I see it. And if this plant gets more, like broader, accepted and normalized again, how it should be, instead of demonized, then it's all good for the world, man. Seriously, industry can embrace it. Hemp, it's good for everything. Like it detoxifies soil that's contaminated with chemicals. It's a golden plant. So getting high from it also makes you tap in the gold beauty of life. The magic.
That's true. Like in your hometown, how do people smoke the haze? Like over here in New York, gotta be a Dutch master.
So when I got into the haze, I was 19.
19?
Now I'm almost 50. And so, over all these years, the haze scene got older, we got mature, so to speak, like these plants.
Yep.
And so our way about it is different now. So we kind of, we embrace all things, by being on the boards, I kind of steered away from solely haze to like maybe do a haze CBD infusion, or like, finding other land-raised cultivars like the Malawi or maybe African cultivars or cultivars from elsewhere in the world that can really match these hazes to have phenotypes that are new, like instead of just stick with the haze like it was before, It's transcending into something else. But it's still there in pure form, and we still keep it there, and we treasure it, and we still smoke it. So like it speaks for itself, but not in a way like we were back in the day. It was all A5 Navel Haze we wanted, A. But over time, you accept the C more for its true unique value. The thing is, like C5 or like NL5 Haze C seeds were distributed by Navel in larger scale and volumes. So like there are a lot of strains like Camdog or whatever that is related to these seed lines, and they're just phenotypical selections of Navel's NL5 Haze C that he sent it, to the US of A. So, Haze C has a lot of offspring in the world, while Haze A not so much. That's why these, Piff hazes or what, like your hazes stick out, Cuban black haze, because it has this Haze A profile. And that was not so widespread available. So it's really beautiful that it made its way also to the US of A, and it was also embraced and kept by people that acknowledged this power and was like blown away by it, and it's still around, So
Yeah,
it's the same thing.
We love it here.
Yeah,
We preserve it, and
So people that love haze really love haze. It's like a passion. You can also see it in the boards and like these discussions, how people collide sometimes, and they're like, But in the end, nobody knows the truth, And the plants reveal everything you need to know. When you smoke it, you know it, and when you grow it, you know it even more.
And we gotta say thank you to Piff Coast too, man. You kept the name, Piff. Shit, man. When a lot of people was jumping off ships and going to the flavor bandwagon, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Piff
man.
Coast still with the name Piff, only haze, sour, anything 12 weeks. You got 8 weeks, 6 weeks. Get that out my face, So
No.
I respect for the haze.
Respect for that.
Thank you.
All lawn flowerings, offspring, and how people embrace it, and cherish it. I can only respect that for sure.
And thank you, because you talk with like a lot of experience, and the way you talking about the haze. For instance, I just thought it was, the PC3. I thought it was black Cuban, but now seeing these different phenols and seeing like where it's really coming from and the way it landed here is like,
It's
it was
beautiful.
a special plant that we got here in the East Coast.
Definitely, yeah. Yeah, it holds. When you smoke it, you can really clearly feel that it has this poof of the haze. Yeah, but it's also kind of the haze, Like you really feel it, kind of that. That's why people love it so much. It gives you like that bang. You know what I mean? While the Haze C is more like that up high creative, more like tolerable. But like what I said is like they use the C5 seeds and then kind of find wild phenotypes in it, and they steered away from that wildness a little bit and try to also cultivate the more practical side of that spectrum, and that's not always the best side, but you have to find a solution because, when you have phenotypical selection, maybe that go 20 weeks, 25 weeks. So, that takes a really passionate person to kind of cultivate it, and it's like another realm of cultivation. Not so much the commerce, but that's, like also people embrace 100% full blood NLD cultivars and 100% hazes instead of the hybrids.
Right.
And that's another league because, like a full-blown haze, that, like it's a very wild plant. To tame it, it's very hard. So, but when you have something that, from a 20-week cultivar, when you smoke it, that's fire, man. Seriously, it blows your mind. It's a different realm.
Yeah, a lot of people will not to grow anything 20 weeks.
That's what I mean. So
you
it's
really
not
have to have
widespread available.
passion
No,
and-
it's for the home grower that will, have the passion and the ability to make it that far. But then you have something that, blows anything from the table because that holds such a unique high that is really, like it's mind-boggling. It's like almost like mushrooms. It's like more like extracts, When you smoke extracts also, especially from the haze, it blows you away. Like this dabbing thing, seriously. It's a league of its own, but it blows your tolerance, right? So in a way, you can't really appreciate the flower for what it is. And that's why I think, only smoking extracts is not my kind of thing.
Yeah.
No, but each to its own.
Yeah. So you like extracts and flower. You can't live without either of them, right?
Well, extracts hold also a certain beauty when they're made to a certain perfection, and also by the passionate people. Then it leads to a unique product, and it's very pure. So it takes all away, like the holder or the carrier of that, what's actually extracted, right? Mm-hmm. So it's very pure, and it's like maybe comparable to like the whiskeys and the more hard liquor compared to a normal beer or a wine in that category, So you have to I think, also be prudent about it, because extracts are really strong, And if you let somebody that is not used to smoking a thing like that, an extract made from that, well, he will he will be in for a surprise, So, it's not for everybody.
Yeah, I see.
We call that out here being blasted, man. When you hit that Super Saiyan mode, you can't even open your eyes anymore.
Yeah, it's strong herb, man. I can really feel it. It has a zang to it that's definitely that haze, right? But that also, I can feel the NL5 really strong into it,
Okay.
Because it's a stony more high.
Mm-hmm.
So it carries like a very high psychedelic, and it also carries like this very...
The body as well.
Yeah, the body
so it's
as
like
well.
the best of both worlds, I think,
It's each to his own. Some people don't like it.
Yeah.
They don't want the body. They want to truly elevate it. That's more like the purest people that go for like a true landrace cultivar, like a Nepalese or something, and go, indoor with that. And when you make an extract with that, it's beautiful. But it's not comparable to what I call this import beautiful hashish from families that make it there, because they throw it differently. They use like a wide spread of their seed varieties, and then they can create a product that, is unique because it carries so much beauty of all these different cultivars that it's like very different to a one phenotypical extract. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and so I don't like them too much because it's like a one-dimensional high, while good import hashish, it's like it's more spiritual. I think.
Yeah.
Definitely. Then it's the spiritual realm of cannabis, the most spiritual. It's a product like that also carries that, Mm-hmm. So because these people, for them it's the way of life. So like the sadhus in India or people that live high in those Tibetan mountains and they produce cannabis there, it's something else, Yeah. But homegrown varieties like these unique cultivars to certain perfection is also a unique ability to do. Mm-hmm. And even though it's a one-dimensional high, it's a very profound high also, And that also leans more to that spiritual nature that's embedded in cannabis. That's why we also embrace it, and it goes throughout races or like any community, It breaks boundaries. It really connects people. It opens up. It's a spiritual thing.
It's very important too, like, because it will help you to like align your physical self, with your spiritual self, and in the path you could really embrace what you're seeing. So.
Yeah. And the
it's
beauty
amazing.
of it, this plant brings people together. You can benefit from it in various ways if you respect it for what it is and you give it what it needs to survive. And being able to preserve these clones, not only me, it's a collective. It's like it's a southern Dutch collective, because when Neville did his initial breeding work, it was in Tilburg. And that's in Brabant in Holland, so it's the belly of Holland, so to speak. And that's where these cultivars were initially found.
Okay.
Before the seed bank actually, I think, took into place, But Neville was already busy. I'm not sure about the whole history because it's before my time. Mm-hmm. And I got these plants from people that were holding it for like 10 years by then, I think,
Okay.
And so at the end of the 90s, these people got severely hit by law enforcement, and that made them like go underground. And they kept these hazes in a tight, crew, so to speak, away in Holland, in the southern parts of it. And in the end, I was lucky and fortunate enough to meet these people, and I got one of them.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. So what was the first one that you ever got?
The first one I wanted and got was A5, of course. It speaks for itself, I was blown away by it, The first A5 joint that somebody, I was sitting in a bar inside of Holland having my smoke. It was skunk. Mm-hmm. And he looked at it and he said, nice weed, want to try something else? I was, sure. So he gave me A5, but I didn't know, but he didn't say. And so I rolled a joint of it, man. I smoked it, and I had a little drink with it too. Seriously, I went to the bar and I have a pee in the toilet, and I was like, bam! I was like, this weed, what? Seriously, it blew my mind, right? So I go to this guy, but what is this? He said, like, it's A5 Haze. I never heard of it. I was like, I want it, like I was immediately
You were
blown
already
away.
growing at the time?
No.
Okay.
So that was my initial. It was like 92, I think, 93. In 93, by the end of autumn 93, we started first cultivating. So it kind of, I was so blown away by it. I wanted to meet these guys, whoever they were. And they were so kind to say, hey, man, whoever, captures the spirit, of course, and then you become part of a family that's, a Haze kind of family that embraces it for what it is,
And now that you're talking about the first grow 93, when did you see like your first grow that you saw lights and you saw this plant that you like, yo, this is amazing? Because I know you say you started smoking at 19, but when did you see your first grow that left you like?
Well, I started
made you
together
wanna
with
do
with a friend, and they said, if we smoked a lot.
HPS?
And they said to us, wow, maybe grow it yourself because you smoke so much. Seriously, man, you're killing it, right? And so they shared these clones with us, and we started cultivating that. We didn't know what we were doing. We said, I put 20 under one light, and just,
Under one light?
yeah. And you got all spears like this, and the nuggets were like this. But, with the A5, it was shiny like when you smoked it, yeah. It was a very strong weed.
If I'm not mistaken, Piff goes, I know Black Cuban goes 90 days, right? But what are other days that there's like 120 days? Like, what's the longest day that's out there? Like,
What's the longest flowering haze you have now?
Well, I usually take them to minimum 100 days, But growing them indoor and they are so wild still, it's not an easy thing. So you have to have a good. You must also take it to aware that we cannot, really do it like it's supposed to be done, like professional, so to speak. So we do the best we can with the means we have, but we are able to pull a certain potential out of it. Because these people that were tapping into these hazes back then, they really figured it out, so to speak. And a golden formula stays a golden formula. And so then you can grow haze to full potential, and then it speaks for itself. And cultivating it is the key element of revealing its beauty, right? So if you know it, then you can reveal it, and then it speaks for itself, right?
Yep.
But we learned throughout the years. By experience.
by experience, trial and error, trial and error.
Mm-hmm.
So if you could give all the haze growers in the world a couple tips for growing, do you have anything? What do you have for them?
Don't veg them too long. Top them, and give them space. I usually don't grow more than 4 of these plants under one light. So, and if you then have the true magic and long flowering, just give them space and let them breathe. And a good fertilizer and a sterile medium is what my personal preference is. But organically grown growers that really know what they're doing, they can pull terps that we on hydro cannot.
Yeah.
So it's a different realm also in cultivating them, and I embrace very much the organic way because I'm learning, we did it always hydroponic and we kind of specialized in that field, But organic growers reveal certain aspects of this flower that we cannot do, but we can boost other aspects of this flower that organic growers can't do.
Yeah.
So it's like,
There's
they
a
also
fine
say
line.
we put haze on steroids, we make humor about it. But in a way, it's kind of that, we use salt. And when you use salts, you really have to know what you're doing. But also that counts for organic growers. It's just a different approach. But the sterileness of hydroponics I like very much.
I see.
And rock wool is my preferred medium. So I rock them on my rock wool, and for sure, they blow you, they blow your mind.
And even resetting a room with rock was amazing compared to like soil,
Yeah, well.
you just put that in a garbage bag and boop.
But I also do outdoor, small time light depth grows. And I like that also in the summertime, just put one big pot outside, have one hybrid in there, and then just let the sun do it, and just
Like, what is a good day to start?
Well, from our season where I'm growing, it's like from May on, so to speak. From May to like August, September, you can do it. So you have like 5 months, but you have to light them, of course. You cannot just let them grow outdoor. Then you will only be able to harvest them January somewhere. So like it's not possible in our climate.
People just want to grow with straight water, just straight feeding it water. Like,
Yeah. When you put them into the soil or a greenhouse, that would be ideally suitable. But like light dapping a greenhouse, it takes a lot of work. And as long as it's not legal, it's not doable. Only for small-time farmers in their backyard, it's doable for the passionists now. So we're waiting on legalization, and then we can maybe do this in greenhouses the way we want to do it. That would be awesome. So free the weed, I would say again.
Yes, free the weed. Yep.
So strong herb, definitely. Yeah, feel it really strong. So like we're smoking now all varieties. So this
Yes.
one, that one, and this one.
Yes.
And this one now you're giving me is this one, right?
That
That
is
was-
this one.
All
This
right.
is that one.
All right. Yes.
And the
That was
joint was
flavorable
that
one. Definitely. Yeah.
Thank you.
Good.
have you guys in your experience? Well, obviously, because you talk with a lot of experience. But have you ever had like a bad crop that you like? You know what?
Oh, yeah,
Or let's say
many.
in your garden, let's say if something like, do you continue or you just chop down and restart? Like,
It depends. It depends. So, but from going wrong, you learn a lot.
because 90 days.
Really, believe me.
Yeah.
So, I have to grow them, but, when you reveal a certain aspect of it, we were lucky enough to, meet people that were already growing these hazes to full potential, but they didn't reveal their secrets so easily, of course. They kept it also to themselves a little bit. And, they just let us play a little bit around and see and then over time, if they see you're truly passionate, they kind of, teach you along the way. Because it's very, every location is unique, right? But there are key elements that you must uphold to, reveal the magic into this plant. Well, you are able to do that, well, then you distinguish yourself from being, like the modern strain grower, so to speak, the 8 to 9 weekers, to the realm of 16 weekers. So like it's a different league, And then there's a league above that goes for the 20 weekers. That's the true passion.
And to make a mistake there, that's crazy right
Yeah,
there.
but these people usually know what they're doing because they've been doing it for a lot of years,
Yeah.
So
Now, in your
they're
experience,
getting old timers.
have you ever like gone into a garden and got caught with like a surprise, like with some like sickness or something that you like, holy, like,
Oh
what is
yeah,
this?
man, and still I do,
Like what, like
the
what?
last time, I never had powdery mildew on any of my crops.
That's like COVID.
And yeah, that's it, man. And the last time I got it, but it's not so easy to be able in this kind of field of passion, so to speak, because that's what it is for us. It's a passion more than it is like a commerce, right? But it's also embraced by the commerce because it's everybody wants the haze. You know what I mean? Yeah, and so when you're able to bring it, even if it's in small amounts, it's usually the smaller amounts that stick out in the beauty. And so it's not a commercial thing so much, right? But we are being still hammered down by legislation we are still in the trenches, right? And I'm hoping it will change because, having to watch your back all the time for a few plants, it's like, what? We just want to get high, you know what I mean? So we grow for our own mainly. And that's what we also try to teach the people, like grow for your own. So, and if you do that small time, you can provide a nice stash to have in your pocket, and that's nice. And if you don't, it's great to have people around you that can provide you with good stash, and that's what it's all about.
Yep.
But I would say grow for your own is like the way, well, it started for me, and it kind of still is. And it's sad that you can be targeted as like a criminal still for growing for your own, you know what I mean?
Yep. Definitely know.
We all lived with that fear as
Yeah.
growers, It's only legal recently, so now here in New York it's legal, and so we're coming out.
That's good, I'm all for that, and I think Holland will soon also they're in the midst of doing this experiment of starting to legalize also. So because it's not really a decent policy to say we tolerate sales of weed and ask for taxes, but then don't legalize the growing. So like the product that is sold in coffee shops
Is legal.
It's legal, or it's semi-legal. It's not fully legal. It's like they keep it in the gray area, so to speak, And it's time that it goes completely open, so these people can do business like people that are in the wine business or whatever, that it's similar. Because when you accept it and embrace it, like it's been in Holland, because it's originated kind of there, the commercial aspect. And now what you're seeing is the legalization in the U.S. And Canada and everywhere, like Thailand recently. And so I think it's a good thing. You can see the green wave is like really hitting hard. So I'm like, all right, Holland might be the next country who's going to embrace it. Germany is moving now also to legalization. So you can see that it's coming, the change, and it's about time. So we can finally step outside of the closet, and show our passion to the world, and what it's all about.
You can all just get high.
That's it, man. Embrace it for what it is. And this plant is magic. It teaches us a lot, also about us humans. So I would say the spiritual nature of it is clear, and that's why it's been embraced for what it is. And that's a beautiful thing, regardless of who puts his name to it and makes money of it. It's all right, because when I go to a shop and I buy tomatoes, I want good tomatoes. So I choose. With weed, it's the same. It should be the same, But it has a spiritual nature to it, and that's what differentiates from just tomatoes, so to speak.
Well, lucky here in the East Coast, we got Piff Coast. People don't got to be guessing out there like, oh, where I'm going to find good weed at, anything. Yo, we got Piff Coast. And guess what? We got PiffCon. Last year went dope. And this year, come on, man. You know what I'm saying? People got to, appreciate people like having you and people like us and the team around, man, to give good weed to the people. That's what we want. We just want to connect and have a good time.
Yeah, that's it. I'm all for that, man. So thank you for having me again.
Thank you.
And the kindness to receive me here. It's really, it's good,
It's a pleasure to hear the stories.
Yes, the old world and the new world connects in a way, right? And actually, it's what happened to the haze is beautiful. It originated in America. It's brought, to Holland. It got reworked, and then, it got sent back, and it's one big circle now.
One big circle.
Yep.
Like a root system. We a root system. That's what we are. We all just trying to
but
grow.
that's it, like growers and people that preserve plants, and, they're like a medium to the plant, right? So when you stick to the values of the plant, this plant will work for you, and that's for everybody. So I'm only, free the herb, I would say, to everybody. So we can all get motherfucking high. And what it's all about, right?
Smoke to that right now, look. Oof. Yo, you talk with a lot of experience, man. We appreciate that, man, and appreciate you for this second episode of the podcast, because it's like we cannot even beat, not even searching in the internet for what you were just saying right now. The A5, the C, different phenos and stuff like that. Like I said, people just like smoking good weed, but they don't know that sometimes even finding a seed, sometimes you could do a good job and that pheno just is not it. You know what I'm saying? Like no matter how good you try to grow it, maybe it's not what you're looking for in that specific plant. Mm-hmm. You got to keep trying to find what you're really looking for in the plant. Mm-hmm. And you guys been doing that for years, trying to find a good plant. Like we really appreciate that.
Sammy, again, thank you.
Thank you for having me, man. It was a nice experience. I would say the weed speaks for itself. It's very strong herb, so it's definitely a Neville reminiscent haze.
Very cool.
Yeah, very cool to have this opportunity. So thank you. Big up to you once more. Big respect.